The 1987 Brewers were known as Team Streak for a number of different reasons, including their first ever 12-game winning streak, which the Brewers are on right now, and the first time we got George Webb. This is Team Streak 2, this Milwaukee Brewers team. I'll tell you why next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Free burgers, everybody. Hey, everybody. Chuck Freimund, Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin. Covered the Milwaukee Brewers forever. Proud host, my third year of Locked On Brewers. And it is great to have you along. All you everydayers listening to us, watching us every day here on Locked On Brewers. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet because you Brewer fans out there. All right. Burgers, George Webb, for a third time, has to pay up in his history, in Brewers history, of the Brewers getting 12 in a row. They've done it 3 times now. We'll talk about that and some more incredible numbers for the Milwaukee Brewers. Everybody is contributing on this Brewers team. We'll tell you about that. Also, Baseball America, widely considered one of the premier publications out there, websites covering Major League Baseball. They've ranked the Brewers the #1 farm system in baseball. And the Reds are next after a day off on Thursday. We'll get a little bit into that as well. All right, everybody. For a third time, like I said, for third time in franchise history, the Brewers got to 12 wins in a row. How about this, though? Twice in a span of 5 weeks, the Brewers have had double-digit winning streaks. Wow. Again, you got to go back to the 1935 Chicago Cubs for the last time that happened in the National League. Brewers stay 7.5 in front of the Cubs, who won in Toronto on Wednesday night. The Brewers right now, 32 games. Now, I chuckle, not disrespect chuckle, but it's just so surreal and so unreal to even think this way and to see this Milwaukee Brewer team have this type of record. And they've done it all over the summer months. 76-44, 32 games over the 500 mark. Now, last week I said, and I did the math wrong, I said they could get to 116 wins, which was from the 2001 Seattle Mariners. And I made a mathematical error. You know what? The Brewers need to go 40-2 to tie that record. That's very possible. I'm not kidding you. I think the way the karma that these guys have right now, as crazy as it sounds, I mean, do you see these guys ever losing ever again? I mean, they're pounding teams now. They're pounding teams relentlessly. There was a little bit of drama. The Pirates got to within 6-5 on Wednesday, and then the Brewers boat raced them. Just sped on right by. 32 games over the 500 mark. Brewers continue the run of, now they're 27-4 over the last 31. They outscored the Pirates 33-6 in the series. I mean, that's just a beatdown on that team. The Brewers, to get to 100 wins now, they got to go 24-18. They go 24-18 over the last 42. They're going to get to 100 wins for the first time in franchise history. We've seen this team lose 100 times back in 2002, but never get to 100 wins. 100 wins would look pretty and all that and sound great. I just want them to get that #1 seed. Friday night, the Brewers go to tie a franchise record 13 in a row, which happened team streak in 1987. Now let's get to George Webb. George Webb handing out the burgers. And Thursday, they're going to announce when that date is going to be. A couple of things here. If you're watching us on YouTube, the Brewers never used to ever get on Sports Illustrated. Now, back in the day, getting on the cover of Sports Illustrated, as I'm holding this up on YouTube, was a big deal. And here's Rob Deere after the Brewers had rallied on an Easter Sunday game, and I'm sure you've seen these highlights before on Easter Sunday. They'll show it on the broadcast. They'll show it at the ballpark. When the Brewers team streak, they started the season 13-0, including 12-0 after this amazing victory over the Texas Rangers, rallying for a win. And they were on Sports Illustrated. Brewing up a storm, Rob Deere of the amazing Milwaukee Brewers. Now, Team Streak started off 12-0, 13-0, 20-3, and didn't make the postseason, if you could believe that. Didn't make the postseason. By, I think, May, they were right around the 500 mark. Bill Schroeder has talked about that on the broadcast before, on the Brewers broadcast. He was part of that team, Team Streak. All right, here's something else here. My dad put this together. Back in the day, 1987, they gave out these, when the Brewers got the George Webb burgers for a first time, they gave out little certificates, little coupons. It says, congratulations, the Brewers on 12 straight wins. This coupon entitles you to one free burger. My dad never redeemed it. He said, I'm going to keep it as a souvenir. And he made this little collage because with the home run against Texas in 1987, they got to 12-0. With the White Sox, they got to 13 straight victories, 13-0. And this right here is the franchise record. And the Brewers will be trying to tie the franchise record Friday night in Cincinnati. They were 13-0, and then they lost on a Tuesday night in Chicago against the White Sox. So the Brewers will try to tie the franchise record for most consecutive wins Friday night in Cincinnati. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on here in the show. But this is Team Streak 2, because Team Streak 1 in 87, Molitor's hitting streak, 39 straight games. Guerra had a scoreless streak. He was the left-handed ace on that team. Had a scoreless streak, I think, of 30 some odd innings or so. And the Brewers had won a 13 in a row, and then they went on a 12-game skid in May to even things out. Let's hope this team doesn't go in that direction. This Team Streak 2. But they are Team Streak 2 because these guys are incredible. This is the most incredible regular season Brewers team I have ever seen. And I've seen them all. I have seen them all. I've covered them all. I've watched them all as a kid. I was there for the 82 Brewers. Okay. They may have had 5 Hall of Famers, but nothing topped this, except they got that team got to the World Series. And it still remains to be seen what this team will do. But regular season, this team never, 82 Brewers never did what this team is doing. Just each and every night. And again, no superstars, just guys every night getting it done. Wow. All right. A little on the game Wednesday. Brandon Woodruff. Some of you have mentioned, why did Brandon Woodruff only go 4 innings? Pat Murphy talked about it after the game. It was a planned 4 innings. Now, Murphy's talked about this before with Woodruff. They were planning on scaling back his innings, tapering off his innings, much like they want to do with the Miz, and the Miz is on the injured list. So that was a planned 4 inning. He went on a little shorter start this time for first time, so going 4 innings. And Woodruff wasn't great. Now, if they faced a better team, results might have been different. I mean, he might have given up some of those early runs. The Pirates were putting ducks on the pond early, and they weren't cashing in. I mean, the Pirates are just bad. They're just terrible. O'Neill was not in the lineup either for them. He was on concussion protocol. So maybe that's a little different story. Who knows? But I still think the Brewers find a way to win anyway. But Woodruff was not really, really good. Either was Shelby Miller, who came on in relief in the 5th inning and, boy, nearly gave back the entire 6-0 lead. So that's the case with Woodruff. But, I mean, with this Brewers team, you could not say a negative thing about these guys. I mean, right? What can you possibly say about these guys that would be on the negative? Now, sometimes I'm accused by, in the Milwaukee area, long-time sports talk show host, of being negative about sports teams. Okay? I just tell it like it is, whether it's winning or losing. And there's nothing negative you could say about these guys, really. I mean, right? They have a great bullpen. They have timely hitting. Runners in scoring position, they're amazing. That had been a problem for years. That is no longer an issue. The starting rotation, best rotation in baseball, I think. I really do. Bench is great. They have guys who are injured who are coming back. That's going to create a good problem. The Brewers are doing this without Churio. Okay. They're doing it without a lot of guys. Rhys Hoskins, who was supposed to be one of the key guys on this team. They're doing it without him. What's going to happen with guys like that come back? They've weathered all the storms. So the Brewers, you cannot say anything bad about these guys because every time, no, there's not, like in April and May, there were times people were in the done club and they were giving up and they were, including me. I didn't think this team, I had a feeling mid-May that this team was not going anywhere and maybe competing for a wild card. As Ortiz said in the locker, or Contreras said in the locker room today, nobody had this on their radar, what the Brewers are doing right now. So many guys contributing. 4 straight sweeps for the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll tell you, all these guys who are contributing, there is not one who is not contributing on this team. Right? I mean, there's not one guy who's not contributing on the Milwaukee Brewers. Get to that next here on Locked On Brewers. We are brought to you by Monarch Money today. Monarch Money. Hey, you know what? If you're spending your money in all the wrong places, going out, gambling, whatever, not that gambling isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying maybe that's where you're spending your money. You need to get the Monarch Money. Monarch Money, it's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. You're going to be able to tell, hey, I'm spending too much money at the casino. Hey, I'm spending too much money doing this. I'm going out to eat too much. I'm going to the movies too much. Monarch Money does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts and minutes, clear data, visuals, categorizing your spending, finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Take advantage of this opportunity. Find out where you're spending your money, where your paycheck is going. Locked On MLB is the promo code at monarchmoney.com. And in your browser, if you put monarchmoney.com and use the promo code Locked On MLB, you're going to get 50% off your first year. Monarchmoney.com, Locked On MLB. Find out where your money's going. Are you betting on the wrong teams? Monarch Money. If you're betting on the Brewers, Monarch Money's going to say, hey, keep betting on the Milwaukee Brewers. Monarch Money, an all-in-one personal finance tool that'll bring your entire financial life together in one piece. Good to have you along here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day, wherever you get us. Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the major downloads out there. All you everydayers, thanks for making us your first listen to every day here on Locked On Brewers. We're on all the platforms. And, of course, our growing YouTube page. Search Locked On Brewers on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell that alerts you every time we drop an episode of Locked On Brewers. I'm going to start with Ortiz right here. I mean, everybody's all in. Everybody's contributing on this team. Ortiz. Every time I think Ortiz, I want to replace him at shortstop and find somebody new. And I've been saying I don't think he's the long-term solution at shortstop. But, man, this guy comes back to life. He was 9 for 27. I'm sorry, 9 for 22 on this homestand. He's batting .391 in the month of August. Coming up clutch many times. How many times in the past hasn't he? Including with the bases loaded? Well, he had the grand slam against the Mets. But he was on a 2 for 20 run with bases loaded. This guy comes up in clutch moments, singles, walks, does little things. And to me, a walk is good as a single with the Milwaukee Brewers. Ortiz, in addition to being just amazing, shaved off his head too, I noticed in the locker room the other day. Just amazing defensively. Ortiz, boy, I'm back in on Ortiz. He's just been great, right? He has. So whereas maybe I was looking to replace Ortiz before, I don't know. I think I don't want to. I want to be all in on Ortiz right now. Contreras. Well, so much for the bad hand with Contreras. Contreras is so clutch right now. Every time that guy comes to the plate, whether he's drawing a walk, working the count, or homering, doubling to right, doing everything. Our 2-run single today on Wednesday, Contreras is getting back to the Contreras. Now, we thought he had the bad hand. He was struggling for the most part of the first part of the season. He's on fire right now. He is on fire. Christian Yelich. You feel like, and I hate saying this because people said this a lot last year, with Christian Yelich, that Christian has returned back to his, the way he was in 2018 and 2019. I really feel he has. I don't know if he was quite there, even though he had 315 before undergoing the back surgery last year. I really think Yelly is back to being Yelly, using all fields, homering, dumping one in the bullpen on Tuesday night for his 23rd of the year. I really think Yelly is back to being Yelly. The Yelly we saw in 2019 and 2018. 2020, 2021, 2022, 23. All right, 24, even though the numbers were there, Yelly is back to being the powerful Yelly, and he is the quiet leader on this team, Christian Yelich. At one point, I said, if the Brewers could cut him in that $25 million contract like the NFL, they would do it. Now, Yelly seems like a bargain, right? Frelick and Turang, do you ever feel bad when those guys come to the plate? Frelick, Turang, just gamers. Are they the next? All right. I don't mean to put these guys in the Hall of Fame category of those two, but are they the next Yount and Molitor? In a sense that two winners, Yount, Molitor, winners, okay? Obviously Hall of Famers. Frelick and Turang got a long way to go before that, obviously. But I'm talking about the duel, Frelick and Turang. This is the new duel right here. Lock these guys up long-term. Frelick and Turang. Amazing. Caleb Durbin. Yes, I was wrong about Durbin in the offseason. I wasn't buying into him, but Caleb Durbin is an everyday player. Now, he hasn't been playing every day, but I think every day, eventually, he's probably playing second base. I mean, Collins. I feel Collins is Rod Carew. For you new schoolers out there, look up Rod Carew. Every time Carew got up to the plate, didn't hit a lot of home runs, but got base hits. That is Collins right there. Now, we're going to miss Collins this weekend, paternity leave, but he is great. I feel like the guy's hitting like 500 on the season. How is he hitting 295? I feel like he's hitting like 450, right? Because he's always on base. He's always getting base hits. Collins, how about a nice bunt today? Getting runners over, setting the table for Contreras. Vaughn. King Vaughn. Absolutely is King Vaughn. Soft-spoken guy. Just produces. We're going to have this guy for a long, long time at first base. We have finally found our first baseman, King Vaughn, right? We haven't had a first baseman since Prince left in 2011. King Vaughn. All hail to the king, Andrew Vaughn. Even Ziegler, when he comes up, puts in quality at bats, right? Even when he gets to the plate, putting in Lockridge, Perkins. I hope I'm not missing any, but Perkins goes back to the bench when Shorio gets into this lineup. Perkins has been amazing defensively, threw that runner out on Friday. Always coming up with base hits. Perkins. Who would want to have Perkins as a starting outfielder right now, right? Who wouldn't want to have Lockridge in their outfield? Vaughn. Think the White Sox aren't regretting giving up on Vaughn? Collins. Think the Colorado Rockies, they got a long way to go. Wouldn't like a young player like Collins? How did we give up on Collins? How did this guy never make the major leagues with Collins? He was a Rule 5 pick with the Brewers. Durbin. Yankees, you think they wouldn't want to have Durbin back? Turang and Frelick, homegrown. Yelich, great. Contreras. So many guys offensively. The machine known as the Milwaukee Brewers. And it's not ending here with the Milwaukee Brewers. It is not ending here because Baseball America says the Brewers have the number one farm system in baseball. We'll see how they stack up with other teams in the NL Central because that's our number one competition and just why the Brewers are the best farm system in baseball. That's next here on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen to every day here on Locked On Brewers. And by all means, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Search Locked On Brewers. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. That alerts you every time we drop an episode on Locked On Brewers. Follow me on YouTube as well. Follow me on Twitter as well. Chuck Freimund, Freimund. I'm going to talk about a little bit later on what I want from you guys on Twitter. We'll talk about that coming up here in a little bit. Baseball America says Milwaukee has got the number one farm system here in midseason. Number one farm system. A year ago, the Brewers had the 17th best farm system in baseball. They were ranked 7th in the preseason. Baseball America now has the Brewers number one. They list five. Here are the top 5 players. I'll give you the top 6. Mate, number 1. Pena, number 2 in their system. Pratt is 3. Kiro is 4. Henderson is 5. Fisher is 6th. Mate, Pena, Pratt, Kiro, and Henderson. All 5 of those guys listed as the top 100 prospects in Major League Baseball. Brewers have 5 top 100 prospects. Remember the other day, ESPN came out, their best players in Major League Baseball. Nobody made the one top 50 or top 100. Yet the Brewers got the best baseball team in the MLB. Weird. ESPN didn't put one Brewer in their list. God, I could think of. I got to go ahead and look at that list. See who the Brewers. See who's ahead of some of these Brewer players who made that list. Are they going on finances? Guys who make big money. Pirates have the second best farm system in baseball, according to Baseball America. Cincinnati is 10th. St. Louis 14th. The Cubs are 22nd. Ha ha. Cub fans just going crazy these days. 5-game series coming up next week. We'll get to that on Sunday night. Off day Thursday. Man, another Thursday off day. God. And we're not, and because of the day game on Wednesday, it means we're going over 48 hours with without Brewers baseball right now. Won't play until 5:40 Central Standard Time on Friday night. Brewers haven't announced their pitcher as of this podcast for Friday night. Reds have a nice rotation. Martinez going Friday, Littell on Saturday, and then their ace Abbott on Sunday. Abbott is a really, really good lefty. Really good. Priester's going on Saturday for Milwaukee, and Quintana on Sunday. Now, the Brewers have owned the Reds over the years. They're 5-2 against the Reds this year. They were 9-4 against the Reds last year, 10-3 in 2023, and 13-6 in 2022. I'm going to do a little crossover with the guys from Locked On Reds on Sunday night as part of my podcast. And I know those guys get frustrated playing the Brewers because the Brewers always have their number in the last several years. But the Reds are a good team. In fact, I think the Reds are better than the Cubs. I think their pitching staff is better. They got some young talent. Their farm system, they're really good. I think the Reds, they're above 500. And I saw them handle the Phillies on Wednesday night. No problem whatsoever. They are a good baseball team. All right. We covered a lot here on Locked On Brewers. And this Milwaukee Brewers team is, I think after they get done with the Cubs series next week, they'll be up to 20 in a row. Is it possible if you post back-to-back 12 victories, is George Webb's going to have to pay off again if the Brewers get the 24 straight victories, right? I mean, they got a 12-game winning streak. Can you have a 12-game winning streak inside another winning streak, right? A pair of 12-game winning streaks get you 24 straight wins. A lot of work to do in that, but yeah, I see the Brewers sweeping this series against the Reds and sweeping that 5-game series against the Cubs. I kind of say that tongue-in-cheek, but nothing surprises me with the Milwaukee Brewers. All right, Friday's show, tomorrow's show. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to do the mailbag once again Friday morning. I'm going to take your questions. Please DM me on Twitter. Don't put your questions on YouTube. DM me on Twitter. Chuck Freimund, Freimund. DM me on Twitter so I can have your questions. Anything you want, ask me anything about the Milwaukee Brewers. Past or present, whatever you want to ask me about the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll handle your questions. First come, first serve. Those you right to the table, we'll get to you. So DM me at Chuck Freimund, Freimund. As always, in anything you want to ask me about the Brewers. In addition to that, if you're first time messaging me, let me know where you're messaging me from. Let me know where you are tuning into Locked On Brewers. Man, I've heard from so many of you guys out there, and man, it warms my heart. It's great because I wouldn't be here doing Locked On Brewers if you guys didn't subscribe and watch this episode. It's become everydayers. And I tell you, I see people at the ballpark, they say, Freeman, I'm an everydayer from La Crosse. Thank you very much. Eagle River, I saw a guy walking out there last night. Eagle River, he's watching me on his lake in Eagle River and in St. Germain as well. Somebody messaged me the other day. So let me know where you're listening. Let me know where you're tuning in. Locked On Brewers. Always, always. Pictures, I love it. And your stories about how you became a Brewer fan and all that. Trust me, I read every one of them. I love every one of them. I will respond to everybody who DMs me on Twitter, or you can also Facebook as well. If we're already Facebook friends, if we're not, let's become Facebook friends. You can always message me on Facebook as well. We might not know each other on Facebook. Friends, Facebook is supposed to be for people that, you're friends with and all that. Hey, man, we are all friends because we're in this Brewers community. We are a Brewers community all in one. And some of you guys have just jumped on the Brewers bandwagon after being off the bandwagon for years. And I get it. I understand if you're not on the Brewers bandwagon because the Brewers really have not done anything for you to stay on that bandwagon because they don't have any championships. So you're free to jump on and off this Brewers bandwagon anytime you want. But I'm glad you're on it. And I'm glad you're listening to Brewers, Locked On Brewers every day and watching them and bearing down on every pitch like the rest of us, man. This is so fun. This is so much fun. I am loving this. I'm having the time of my life. I never thought the Brewers would ever in my life be in this situation of having the best team in baseball. 32 games over the 500 mark. What's that song by Loverboy? Love it every minute of it. That's me, my friend. Have yourself a great Thursday. Enjoy your off day. We'll get back at it Friday morning. And again, send me your questions. DM me on Twitter or Facebook. My name is Chuck Freimund. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.